What is going on, everybody? It is the one and only Q here from Retro Q Gaming, and we're going to do something just a little bit different today. I want to talk a little bit about wrestling, as they say. Now, the main reason I want to do this is because, well, I'm back into enjoying wrestling for the first time in about 19 years, and I want to talk about it. Now, that other crappy ass company that likes to do what they do in the world of sports entertainers and sports entertainment, they had their lovely little slammies recently, and we all know that they haven't been important since Owen Hart. But, well, I'm going to change it up and do it a little bit different. Because here, we're going to have some AE-Double Whammies. That's right, I'm giving my own little special ones we have here. And just to fit the occasion even perfect, I've donned the proper attire. As you can see behind me, we do not have the podcast attire. No. We have freshly from the US, delivered right here today on Christmas Day. Well, we have our little bit of slickness and freshness, because it's what we do. It's how we Q. And remember, since your boy Q is all elite, well, it's only appropriate we do these now. I was going to say I would do them after the last show of 2020. Unfortunately, the last AEW Dynamite is going to be pretty much, depending on time zones and whatnot, it's probably going to be just into the new year, even if it is a taped show, or else right beforehand. Again, time zones and whatnot. So I figured I just got earlier today let's try that one again. Earlier today, I just got done watching our late night post NBA special. Of course, that was at 3:30 in the morning for me, so I only watched it today. By the way, what is today's date? Today is the 24th, 10 p.m. Thursday the 24th. So by the time you're seeing this, happy Christmas. But anyway, we're going to go through some AE double whammies that I have here that I want to give out. These are the awards I want to give out. So we are caught up. We've watched every episode of Dark, every pay-per-view, and every single episode of Dynamite as it stands. So we are all caught up to the end of 2020. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, I'm going to give each award out as appropriately timed as possible. And then, of course, feel free to jump in the comment section below with your own possible awards, or any different ones that I would have given on here anyway. So, let's go, shall we? First off, we have Male Wrestler of the Year. Now, I was a little bit conflicted on this one, but I think I am going to have to give it to Jon Moxley, simply because he has been the most consistent when it comes to the quality that he's put out and the level of matches and the work in said matches that he's put out. Not to mention, of course, his quality promos and all as well, and just the character and persona. So overall, it was Jon Moxley. Now, I will say this. When I was doing these notes and reflecting back on all of this, I actually only put Moxley in at the end. I had another name in this one, so I will give a shout out to Adam Page, the Hangman, as someone calls him. But he was in this one for the majority of it, because he's had a good build for many ways. There's one or two missteps in there too throughout the year, but, well, 2020 hasn't been perfect. You get the idea. But either way, something is happening. And even if Moxley is no longer champ, it's still Wrestler of the Year, Male Wrestler of the Year for Jon Moxley. Now, the Female Wrestler of the Year, we don't really have much to go with here. Unfortunately, AEW's female division is nothing special yet. It has the potential, but a lot of the girls need in-ring time, they need in-ring experience, and I'm there for it. I'm not adverse to it, and I do enjoy a lot of what they have in there. Again, it's not perfect though. But overall, I'm going to have to give Female Wrestler of the Year to someone who is not the most spectacular promo or talker in the world. I can understand her just fine. Many people can as well. But when you think about how long she's been around in this, how they've built her up from her initial start, this is all 2020 stuff, obviously, by the way. But yeah, we're looking at Hikaru Shida. And on top of that, not only is she the AEW Women's Champion, she's also pretty damn hot. That's a bonus point right there. Now, we've also got Ring Gear of the Year. Hey, that rhymes. Now, this one, there's not many candidates for this one, so we'll just get it out of the way straight away. We have Private Party. Now, this one, in theory, would be Sting, but I can't really give it to him because, in ring gear, we don't know if Sting's even going to be wrestling. I mean, with his history of injuries in the last couple of years and whatnot, and not being medically cleared and all, I can't really give him Ring Gear of the Year when it comes to that. It would be Sting, but it's Private Party. Private Party are hit and miss when it comes to ring gear. Some of their stuff is slicker than oil on a chain, and some of their stuff is a bit hit or miss. Well, I guess it would just be a bit miss, but you get the idea. A lot of it, some of those purple suits, that slickness, I'm all about that Prince. But yeah, you get the idea. Now, having said that, we will move on to Return of the Year, and this one is your boy Sting, the icon himself. And you can even try qualify it, but Q, you didn't want to give him one of the other ones for ring gear and all as well. That doesn't matter. For this one, it is 100% Return of the Year for Sting. Sting is WCW to me. I grew up watching WWF, WCW versus WWF in the Monday Night Wars in the 90s, the Attitude Era, all of that stuff. And Sting is the number one thing that exemplifies, he's the number one wrestler that exemplifies WCW to me. Number two is Booker T. But Sting was always that special WCW talent, if you will. That special thing that made WCW WCW. And I mean, to the point, I have marked out and bought my first wrestling merch in 2 decades, this side of the millennium. I guess if you don't count maybe one game back in like 2000, 2001. But you get the idea. That's how important. That is how important that is for me. And that's why Sting gets the Return of the Year. Now we got Breakout Star of the Year as well. I'm going to go with Ricky Starks on this one. Absolute Ricky Starks. Because simply, he came in, he'd been around in 1 or 2 independent shows, he'd been in the NWA for a little bit as well, but when he had the alleged tryout match, and it performed so well, that match was so good, Ricky Starks looked really good in that alleged tryout match that he was supposedly signed to a contract right after it. He had been, actually, one match after that, he was a bit questionable. But then they really found his groove the following week, or the following time he was on Dynamite. And he's just been getting better and better since. Ricky can talk. Ricky can steal the show. He can, what's the word I'm looking for? He has the ring quality, the ring knowledge. He has the ring expertise. Not to mention, something we'll talk a little bit in more detail later. But when he gets on commentary, his facial expressions, his reactions, Ricky Starks, 100% Breakout Star of the Year. Also, though, I will say quick, big shout out to Darby Allin. He came pretty much out of nowhere, it seems. And of course, his rise to stardom, essentially, if you will, in 2020, and where he is now, being the TNT champion, is a pretty big deal. So naturally, that definitely has to be mentioned. Now, best entrance music. Now, this is not just the best entrance overall, given the actual person involved and all. This is strictly just on the music. I do wish I could give it to something like maybe TH2, the Hybrid 2. They have some great music. I just really, really love that. Or even, believe it or not, Red Velvet's old team. They just changed their team recently on AEW Dark this week. But her old team, I actually just really vibed with. But I am going to say, oh, also another one, Ricky Starks' music is just fantastic as well. But I'm going to go with best entrance music is probably going to be Eddie Kingston. I mean, that Mad King team is just really damn good. And really damn fitting as well. But that's a whole other story. Now, moving on from best entrance music, we've got overall best entrance. This incorporates the quality of the music, the video, the person involved, how they carry themselves during their intro, how they interact during their intro, what they do when they're getting into the ring, the poses, etc. And this one is Ricky Starks. Straight up, absolute Ricky Starks, because you have him getting in. He's feeling the music. He's interacting with it. You know, as it's going, it's like he's got it going on. Ricky knows what's up, and that's it. Without hearing the music in my mind, or without hearing the music in my ear as I'm doing it, it just falls a little bit flat. Now, this next one I have broken into two things simply because it's impossible to pick otherwise. So we have best male promo. Now this is just promo as in believability, authenticity. It's not just the ability to talk, but that is a big factor in there as well. So overall, many people probably feel like they know where this one is going, but we have best male promo, Eddie Kingston, as well. There's so many others there as well. I mean, I have it specifically in my notes here as well that I would give a shout out in this one to MJF for his promo abilities on there too. There's so many other good ones out there too. Scorpio Sky is real good. Frankie Kazarian, both of them just come to mind from, I guess, AEW Dark this week and just what they do anyway. Sean Spears had a good one as well on Dynamite. But you get the idea. But overall, Eddie Kingston, when it comes to the promo, it's the sheer believability. It's you believe he believes what he's saying. You believe he's saying something from the heart and he means what he's saying and that he's really saying it. But again, shout out to MJF. Now, the next one is best male trash talker, which is why I had to break this into two specific parts. Because while MJF is an amazing talker as well, just like Eddie Kingston, I'm gonna give, and Eddie Kingston has amazing trash talk as well. He gets the shout out second place for this one. But the winner of the AE-Double Whammy for best male trash talker is MJF. Like I said, MJF can talk for days and he's amazing at it. But the trash talking is just that little bit higher than MJF. And I mean, this is coming fresh off the back of an AEW Dynamite show where we had Eddie Kingston just giving props and respect to JR and up yours Tony Schiavone. So yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. Now we got the best female promo next as well. Now this is an important one because there's not many amazing female promos in AEW. And that's not a specific knock against women. Again, not a specific knock against women wrestlers or anything like that. It's just what we see in there typically isn't anything special. Now, by no means is it all dirt, but it's just not very special. However, when it comes to this award, I have to list off a few things what we have here. Over the years, we've had Dusty Rhodes. We've had Ric Flair. We've had Bret the Hitman Hart. We've had Rowdy Roddy Piper. We've had The Rock. We've had Bobby the Brain Heenan. We've had Jim Cornette. And now, joining these legendary names in the best promos of all time, we have the winner of the AE-Double Whammy for the best female promo, Brandy Rhodes. A few weeks ago, she delivered a truly quadruple A 9.5 stars promo against Jade Cargill. Heifer. I can't say anymore. Anything I would say would be doing it absolute injustice. And on the flip side as well, we also have a best female trash talker as well. This one, of course, this one didn't start out as a winner. In fact, depending on how you look at it, she actually flopped at what they originally gave her. And then for the first couple of weeks after they turned her heel, she was really struggling. But now, she's hit her stride, and Britt Baker is the queen of the female trash talking in AEW. So naturally, she wins this as well. Now, we got some best AEW commentary or commentator dynamics. Because let's face it, we have different shows. There's AEW Dark and AEW Dynamite, and even the pay-per-views. You have different combinations of commentators on there as well. Sometimes they work really well, sometimes they fall completely flat, or they could go anywhere in between. But realistically, I'm going to go with two different ones here. They don't it's not so much one is going to be better than the other. It's just they're both really for different shows where they're highlighted on there. Excalibur and Taz is mainly the what you're looking at on Dark. And believe it or not, as much as Excalibur isn't always my cup of tea, Excalibur and Taz have an amazing joking dynamic that they can pull off. They're just ribbing each other back and forth, and there's so much good stuff on there that they can get away with because it's not network TV and it's a YouTube show. So there's so much they can get on there as well. And not to mention, because Taz is on there, part of Team Taz, sometimes you have that boot supplemented by absolute Ricky Starks. And like I said earlier, Ricky Starks' wit, his commentary, and especially his facial expressions when they do cut to it during it are absolutely godlike. It's amazing. And then when you come to the likes of Dynamite, I mean, you've got so many different combinations and variations on there, but out through the whole of 2020, I'm going to give it to early pandemic Tony Schiavone, and early Chris Jericho when he was on commentary as well, back when we were in QT Marshall's gym. That was brilliant. Or even some of the more recent stuff. Chris Jericho got a bit much and a bit try hard in the later half of the year when it came to being on commentary as well. But there was a fantastic one, even in the later side, where it was during the whole Orange Cassidy thing. He'd been covered in mimosa once or twice, and he was on commentary, and just they were pitching to the break, and it's like, oh damn it, Schiavone, I'm covered in orange juice, or whatever it is. The way he did it, it was just that kind of thing before he got super try hard. So yes, Tony Schiavone and early and select late Jericho are my proper dynamics on there as well. Now, this one is just a rib, bro, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Because if one other sports entertainment company can do it, well, we can do it too. So we got the best musical performance of the year. I guess it really has to just be MJF and Jericho, doesn't it? I mean, the only other one that would qualify would be Marco Stunt when he was playing in Britt Baker's little segment. By the way, which they call the waiting room. I like to call it Baker's Brit. That's, yeah, I mean, we all know why. If you don't, maybe you should go back and watch Real Wrestling back in the day. But you get the idea. So this one, yeah, it's a meme, bro. Deal with it. Now, where we have next? Referee of the year. Okay, referee of the year. This one's going to be amazing. There's not much to say when it comes to most AEW referees, but there is one. Aubrey Edwards. Not only is Aubrey Bay, but on top of that, her reactions, her expressions, her involvement, how serious she takes the entire thing is so damn good. And on top of that, there was one, I believe it was during Revolution this year, where she ejected all the inner circle from the outside. And she had that, I don't remember the baseball player's name. I was going to call him baseballer. She did that one where she spins around and throws him out, and Ortiz takes a bump from it. It was amazing. And that's why Aubrey Edwards gets our AE-Double Whammy for Referee of the Year. Now, we also got a Double Cross of the Year award as well. This one could go multiple different ways. There's lots of different people who have double crossed someone on their list, or someone in their stable, or someone on their tag team, or someone in some way, shape, and form. But specifically, it's because someone I like did it to someone I don't like. So Double Cross of the Year goes to Adam Page when he fucked over the Young Bucks. And we all know how that whole thing went with FTR and all as well. Now, Rivalry of the Year. Now, this one is strange. In fact, this one got to a point where I had to break it into two different portions, because it's the next award as well. So, for Rivalry of the Year, even though it technically started at the end of last year, it came to fruition and it was properly done and properly come to the conclusion of and all in 2020. So yes, as everyone expected, Cody and MJF. I'm not even a huge Cody fan. He's not terrible by any means. He's above average, but it did it really well. It was back when they still had crowds and they paced everything properly because of that. And it just worked really well as they were going week to week to week. And there was the stipulations, there was the lashes, there was the cage match, there was the not being able to touch MJF during the whole thing. It just went along and it went really well. And it feels like there hasn't been any that have lived up to it since then. Now, there's been a couple of good ones, but you get the idea. So I also wanted to break this up and give an AEW Dark Rivalry of the Year. Because, believe it or not, if you don't watch Dark, you're missing out on a lot of the separate side storylines and all as well. I mean, it's not stuff like, say, Shawn Spears and his glove and his comeback with Tully Blanchard and all. But you've got some other ones in there too. And believe it or not, before I was making this list, I had pretty much almost entirely forgot about the whole Cody thing. The whole Cody MJF thing with the lashes and just like we talked about a second ago. I had almost completely forgotten about all of that. But what we did have was one of the best paced, that's the key important thing, best paced storylines on AEW Dark. And that was the whole Brandon Cutler, Peter Avalon feud, where they were trying to be the first to be a loser, or whatever way you wanted to look at it, or whatever way it was done. But that one, the one that of course culminated in Brandon Cutler finally beating Peter Avalon and Leva Bates leaving him and going her own way and him changing his gimmick. I mean, that was paced really, really well. And sure, like I said, it's not a big AAA money drawn thing, but it was good. You could follow along with it. You could, I won't say relate to it, but you could understand it. And they swerved it enough. And it paid off really well. And of course, the big thing, like I said, the pacing was the big one. Now, we also have one for our top AEW moment of the year. Now, I'm going to reenact this moment instead of explaining it to you or telling you what it is. But let's just break it down real quickly. It's Sting! Enough said. That is our moment. After that, we got Tag Team of the Year. Now, there's some good tag teams in AEW. Young Bucks are not one of these tag teams. And believe it or not, as much as I do not like Kenny Omega for the most part, Adam Page and Kenny Omega worked well together, and they could pull a lot of stuff off. There was one or two extra things I could have done without, but overall, they still came together to create one of the better tag teams. But still, from what I can tell, FTR are still the best tag team in there. Santana Ortiz as well, for example. Proud and Powerful. I'm not a huge fan of Ortiz, but Santana's great. I would love to see him in a proper singles push or a different role in some way, shape, or form. But the important thing is that even though many people don't like how FTR were booked and how they were squandered, from what I understand. Remember, I have no experience with them pre-AEW. But when they're in the ring and they're doing what they're doing, no matter who they're doing it against, they're just a well-oiled machine. That's it. And remember when I was going to give one of the male wrestlers and all as well? Cash Wheeler was a realistic possibility for that. He joined so late and he didn't really do any solo stuff that I couldn't really justify it. But Cash, I remember during the FTR Young Bucks match for the titles, Cash was the real MVP. He was insane. I could not believe it. He blew my mind in that match. But like I said, you can see FTR in whatever they're doing, whatever match they're in, whoever they're against. They're just quality. They're trained. They're highly trained. They're highly skilled. They're highly proficient. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're very specific about how they want to do it, and that shows. We also have most potential for a belt run. Now, this is a singles belt run of some sort. I'm going to try to keep this quick because I'm talking far more than I wanted to, and we're basically halfway through here. So, most potential for a belt run. This started out as 2 people. 1 person for the TNT belt, 1 person for the AEW belt, the AEW World Championship. But I kind of had to go with 2 each because there's just more of a variety in there as well. I can't wait to see Scorpio Sky with his eventual, inevitable TNT belt run. I mean, I remember at one point when he first got his basically switch over to solo, and I pretty much predicted it, and that was how that was going to be. I also can't wait to see Brian Cage with his inevitable AEW World Championship. Santana is another one that I'd love to see as well, because I would love to see Santana get a real proper solo job, and he would seem like he'd be a good asset when it came to the TNT Championship. You could maybe eventually see him, depending on what happens and what changes with the AEW World Championship. But right now, we're looking TNT belt, for me at least, anyway. And of course, Pac, or Pac, however you want to call him. But I'm a Pac guy. Pac, AEW World Champion at some point. It's going to happen. I can't wait. And the AEW Whammy for Best Manager goes to Taz. Because Taz can talk, Taz can act, Taz can still pull off a Taz mission on Cody. Taz is Taz. The way he does everything, his group, he deserves it. He deserves it. That's all it is. Now, this one is more of another one. The AEW Whammy. AE-Double Whammy. For Best Physique. Best Physique. Remember, these people, they gotta hone their weapons. They gotta hone themselves and their bodies for their craft. And you got Brian Cage as number one. I mean, he's a professional world-class bodybuilder. And it shows. He's jacked up. He's like, what, 6'1", 270 pounds, and you can tell. And he can move for a guy of that size and how cut he is. Also, important honorable mentions. The Pac, obviously. Luchasaurus, because the big man is cut to bits. And the Blade, again, a bit shorter, but jacked up. Important stuff. Best primarily dark male wrestler. I'm giving this one for 2020 to Shawn Spears. Very underrated. I don't know why everyone seems to hate him, but he's made some big strides on dark. That's where the majority of his current story is going. But yeah, he's definitely winning that one. I can't wait to see how they transition him back to Dynamite or the new second show whenever that one does start eventually. Best primarily dark female wrestler. I'm going with Red Velvet on this one. Not only because she's hot. That's a very important thing as well. But again, she focuses on dark, or she's featured on dark a lot. And a lot of the stuff she can do, it's athletic because of her background. I believe she's a dancer of some sort. So some of the stuff she does is more unique and athletic when it comes to that. And she can work at shows. And yeah, just as a bonus point, she's also pretty damn hot. So yeah, that's definitely a very good one. AEW also has featured a number of times non-signed talent. So I'm giving Best Non-AEW Talent Double Whammy to Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa's great. She looks good. Her work's fantastic. And I can't wait until eventually the NWA folds and AEW do sign Thunder Rosa. And she becomes All Elite. Because there's so much potential there. Not just between her being an outsider at the moment and doing what she's doing, but even when she is in there, I mean, realistically, she could be the number one in the women's division. I mean, I love Shida as much as I love Shida, but if Thunder Rosa came in, I would not be averse to her coming in and having like a proper 8-month title reign, beating out everyone, just because she's so damn good in so many ways. Now, where was I? Oh yes, best impressive overall in the ring. Now this is not so much in the psychology way, this is not so much in how a match is put together way. This is literally just a visual you are seeing in front of you. And there's no competition, hands down. This has to be Rey Fénix. Absolutely. You can say what you want about Lucha, you can say what you want about botches, how stuff doesn't make sense, psychology, whatever it is. Rey Fénix is just a mind-blowing experience to watch. I hadn't seen something like Rey Fénix since Rey Mysterio Jr. That's it. When I first saw Rey Fénix, I saw, holy shit, this is the second coming of Rey Mysterio Jr. That's all I could think of. That's how mind-blowing and revolutionary it was to me. Bestseller. We have the bestseller now. Many of them could get this. Many different people could win this. But it's going to have to go to to Sammy Guevara. He has some of the best selling ever. He has great sells. He, especially when he gets something like a spiked DDT or something like that as well. Anytime he does a move that requires him to be spiked, he does it excellently. And he does some amazing sells as well for stuff like super kicks. And there's a couple of others as well. But I mean, there's a couple that everyone points to. There was one time he interfered in some match, I think it was one of the Bucks, and he just jumps off the top rope. I think he's doing like a double axe handle smash or something like that, or maybe a shooting star press, whatever it is. And one of them catches him with a super kick in midair, and he just buckles. He just folds like origami. He's an amazing seller. Sammy's great. MJF does amazing sells. He has a lot of those classic ones. He has the MJF has the Ric Flair sells. He's got the Razor Ramon sells. He has whatever it is. He's got different bumps for everything. But Sammy still has to win ever so slightly. The biggest wasted signing, FTR. I've been told so much about FTR, and especially when it came to the whole FTR / Young Bucks thing. I didn't really look into it because I am only experiencing AEW as AEW, not being the elite, not anything that happened before, not stuff that happened in Japan, or whatever it is. I'm just going off that. And from what I understand, and what I heard, and what I was told, what I can see from FTR in the ring, FTR have been squandered, if you ask me. And the whole feud thing with the Young Bucks has been completely squandered. And it's especially funny because after the Young Bucks got their tag team titles by beating FTR, they went on record, the Young Bucks went on record and say, oh, AEW rushed our whole FTR angle and kind of wasted it. Yeah, Jesus, so many everything. The Young Bucks book that angle, book that feud. The AEW tag team division is booked by the Young Bucks. If anyone did it, it's those two little pricks, the Young Bucks, and they're wah, we want belts, wah, we want to be the best. Pricks. That's all I can say. We also have the You've Still Got It AE-Double Whammy. And this one, of course, goes to Dustin Rhodes. I mean, he's been wrestling for so long. He's been wrestling for so many different ways, for so many different companies, in so many different personas and gimmicks, whatever it is. But you can go from Goldust, you can go to 7, but either way, it doesn't matter. The natural Dustin Rhodes still has it, even after all these years. And conversely, we also have the You Don't Still Got It AE-Double Whammy. And this one, believe it or not, is a more recent winner, because this person has only won it over the last couple of weeks, if not maybe the last 2 or 3 months, because he started off great, he kept going great, and then more recently he rapidly declined, and I mean rapidly. So congratulations, Chris Jericho, you don't still got it anymore, and you got an AE Double Whammy just to show for it. Some of his stuff lately, he's gone. He's past his prime. He's far past his prime. He's to the point where he just can't go anymore. What's the thing Ric Flair said about Mick Foley? He couldn't go an hour if you gave him 4 oxygen tanks on his back. It's that kind of thing. It's just sad. The last 2 or 3 times I've seen him in the ring, there was yikes. Now, of course, we do also have 1 or 2 Razzies, if you will. We have the most deserving of getting kicked out of the wrestling business award. This one goes to Marco Stunt. Now, there was only really 2 contenders for this off the top of my head that I could think of. One of which was Orange Cassidy. But no, Marco Stunt absolutely deserves this award. We've also got the best match of the year. Now, there's a couple of good ones in here. This only, of course, by the way, this only includes regular style matches. One-on-one match, no stipulations. So it can't be a no DQ match. It can't be a 2 out of 3 falls match. I guess they didn't really have any. But it can't be a street fight. It can't be anything like that. It can't be like a 6-man tag or some kind of weird thing like that. It can just be a one-on-one straight match or a 2-on-2 straight tag team match. And in this case, the best match of the year, AE-Double Whammy, goes to Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks when they won the belts. And that was... Wait a minute. That wasn't when they won the belts. It was the one on... It was the one on the cruise. No, wait a minute. I'm misremembering, I think. That was Kenny Omega and Adam Page against SCU when they won the belts. We are in a bit of a predicament. I'm all over the place here. Okay, this is going to be a complete executive decision, and we're going to pull this one off just on the fly. It's going to be a 50-50. When Adam Page and... No, what am I remembering? Oh my god. Yeah, Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus SCU back on the Chris Jericho cruise when they won the belts. That was one of the best matches. I believe that was on there. But I feel like there was another one. It may have been at Revolution. AEW Revolution. Adam Page and Kenny Omega against... I want to say it was the Young Bucks. And they had a great match, I believe. It could have been more recently. It could have been on one of the more recent COVID pay-per-views. Well, this award has turned into a complete wash. So, yeah, that one is not going well. Anyway, we've also got an AE-Double Whammy for the best non-traditional match. Now, this includes any type of match that is not just a straight one-on-one match. It can be a street fight, it can be a cage match, it can be some sort of weird rules match, it can be a ladders match, it could be the tables match, it could be a Mimosa Mayhem match, it could be any of that kind of stuff. But I am going to go, this one is very, very close, so I will give an extra special shout out for the second one as well. But overall, I want to say the best non-traditional match that I've seen in 2020 has to be the Iron Man match between Pac and Omega. That's definitely number one. Second place is going to be the cage match between Cody and Wardlow. But I will say, other than one or two specific spots, really just one spot that everyone remembers, maybe two, I guess, if you count MJF and the interference and Arn Anderson and whatnot. But the point is, overall, that was a relatively straight match. Again, one or two extra spots. But the Iron Man match, it was just quality across the board, as you'd expect from Pac. And I guess in this case, Pac managed to drag a good match out of Kenny Omega. Now, don't worry guys, two more awards and we are finally out of here. So we also have the most annoying thing about Dynamite. And this one is down to when it comes to their taped shows. They have terrible canned audio balance with the fake crowd noise. Not a big fan of it. They can get it right sometimes. But between the canned audio noise balance and just the balance between it, sometimes it completely overpowers everything. Sometimes you can barely understand a promo that's being cut because the audience is cheering like crazy during a promo. And you can barely hear the person. Or all the times you can't hear the commentators or understand what the hell is going on because the fake audio balance is completely off. That needs to change. I can do better than that sitting here in a room. Tony Khan, I will save you tens of thousands a week on production value if you need me to do it. You get the idea. And last up, we have the biggest Botch of the Year award, aka the AE-Double Whammy Botchamania award. And this one, well, unfortunately, it pains me to say it, that there are many different things and many different reasons that there are many different botches when it comes to AEW. It's not the only promotion that has botches. WWE has many. Many of the others have them as well. But overall, the biggest botch of the year goes to the Casino Battle Royale and the Joker Wild Card, where Matt Sydal came in for his debut with the company, went up to the top rope, and went to perform one of his finishers, a move that I'm told he has pulled off perfectly thousands of times, literally thousands of times. But Matt Sydal went up top on his debut in the Casino Battle Royale, went for a shooting star press, and slipped in a moment that will live on in infamy. In fact, to the point where I have now coined a new name for his finisher. It's no longer called, when he does it, a shooting star press. It's now a slipping Sydal press. But anyway, that is it for our first inaugural AE-Double Whammy Awards here in 2020. Will we have another one in 2021? Who knows? Who knows? I didn't feel like we should do one in 2019 because the company had only been around for just about 3 months, realistically, including TV and whatnot. But yeah, that's it. Let me know in the comment section below anyone you'd give all these awards to, or any awards you think I missed. Anyway, until then, let's hope 2021 is even better. More title changes if we need them, more stipulations, more whatever it is, more debuts, more signings. And hell, give me a lot more of that sweet, sweet women's division.